Summertime is heating up at Global Voice Broadcasting. Hot music, hot talk, and hot topics. All day, every day, 24/7. You don't want to miss a minute on Global Voice Broadcasting. Welcome to the world of Cabarabia, the world where Broadway, jazz, comedy, and pop share the spotlight. And a 2-drink minimum with your host, producer, director Clifford Bell, keeping the world safe for live performances in intimate settings on Global Voice Broadcasting.
And welcome back. Welcome to Cabarabia here on Global Voice Broadcasting. If you're just discovering us, this is the weekly show that is a rumination on live entertainment in intimate settings. And I'm telling you, with everybody that we have in the studio with us today, we could do the entire history of the American cabaret, past, present, and future. So I want to get started and introduce you to all my guests. The one thing that this particular group has in common is that we are gathering on September 28th, Saturday night, September 28th, go ahead, Gabe, to do a show called the 13th anniversary of the Cabarabia Spotlight. And the Cabarabia Spotlight was something I started at the Cinegrill at the Hollywood Roosevelt 13 years ago. And to celebrate the anniversary this year, I've invited all the hosts of the most popular ongoing attractions around town to be my guests. And the evening is going to be a benefit for an organization that I work with called Songs for Isabella. So let me go around the room and introduce you to all the people relevant to this evening. First of all, at the far end down there, we have the founders of the Un-Cabaret. We have the brilliant Beth Lapides, who has been doing the Un-Cabaret for 2 decades and has recently reinvented it with our pal Mitch Kaplan. Mitch Kaplan is one of my closest friends for many years. He doesn't like me to name numbers, but Mitch has been Sandra Bernhardt's musical director for many years as well, and they've been down at First and Hope about to have their second anniversary, yes, doing the very hip Un-Cabaret. Going around the room here, we have Kate, Pazakattack, Pazakis. It's my personal challenge every week, every podcast, to say her name, and I'm running about 80% of getting it cut. Close. I'm getting better. Kate is recent from here in Los Angeles, from New York. Fabulous musical theater talent, fabulous actress, and she runs 2 actually very popular open mics around town. One called Standing Room Only, which she's been doing at a club in the Valley called Rain, and also Broadway Bar at Rockwell, the very cool club over in Los Feliz. And then we have Mr. Ryan Black of Ryan Black's 88s, who's holding, yes, you want to say something. I know you do.
I would like to change my name to Ryan Black Attack.
And not a minute too soon. Touché. And Ryan has recently been holding court at the brand new Don't Tell Mamas over in West Hollywood, and on Wednesday nights, and it's very popular. And then my dear pal, Kelsey. Kelsey is the host of the longest-running open mic in Los Angeles, I believe, also celebrating its 13th year, at the Gardenia. Tom
I think
Rollis.
we're 14, aren't we?
No, 13.
Oh, all right. I'll go with you. You
always know the numbers, baby. And then as we come around here closer to the picture with me, my good friends, I want to introduce you to Gregory Vahanian. As I mentioned earlier, we will do these evenings for an organization that we call Songs for Isabella. And I'm going to tell you about that a lot more in detail, but Gregory is as young as Isabella's father. And he'll be talking to us soon. And right next to me, my dearest pal, Belle Zwerdling. When we first met about 15 or 16 years ago, when we were first introduced, I said, you know, if we got married, you'd be Belle. And to this day, I proudly call her my wife. And it was Belle, actually. It was Belle that called me up and said, let's have a lunch and discuss doing something for the Vahanian family. And of that conversation was born Songs for Isabella, which brings us here today. So before I let everybody talk, I want to take just a minute and run some stills about what the Cabarabia Spotlight is. We began at the Cinegrill at the Hollywood Roosevelt. on September 28th. Go ahead, Gabe. On September 28th of 2000. And at the time, we did it monthly, and it was produced by J.D. Kessler, the man that ran the room at the time, and Michael Orland and myself. And Michael was the ongoing host for the first year or so. And then at around 9/11, they closed the Hollywood Roosevelt, and we moved around like vagabonds and did it at Maskers for a while, and now I do it at Catalina's sometimes. I do it at M-Bar mostly, but it's been 13 years. It's not monthly anymore, but it was something that I invented because I, as a producer and director in the cabaret world, one of my big ambitions is always to put together evenings that combine veteran performers, name performers, established performers with people that are just coming in. I'm very big on trying to create an open door for the newcomers. So these evenings were invented as an opportunity to put newcomers in the evenings with a lot of times celebrities and stuff, and it's been a really great formula and something that has served us well. But actually, I don't know that you know this, Kate. It was you that I got the idea to have what this evening is going to be, because we were at Todd Sherry's party. I had heard your name because it's such a distinctive name, but we had never met. So you introduced yourself to me that night, and I thought, because I knew your shows were very popular, your standing room only at the time was what I'd heard a lot about. I thought, well, that would be cool if I got Keri and Ryan and Beth and Mitch and that would be how we celebrated what 13 years in the cabaret world has been.
Thanks a lot, Kate.
The people that are running it now. So tell me, how did you get started here in LA doing these?
Well, I came out to LA to stop doing these because I did it for years and years in New York. And then after about 3 months being out here without doing cabaret, I kept wanting to do cabaret because I love cabaret.
Right.
And so then I was talking with Shane Shale over at Rockwell, and he said, well, why don't you put together a night like you had in New York, just once a month?
Right.
So I was like, all right. So I started with Broadway Bar, and then I started hosting with Michael Woolley a couple of times, and he became my co-host and co-producer.
Right.
And we decided to also do a second show, which we originally started at the Federal.
Yes.
We did 2 months over there, and then we moved over to Rain. So now we're at Rain.
Great. Well, it's always interesting to me how people start to rise through the ranks just by the buzz of hearing about you, because I'm a pretty jaded old character. I've been doing this for 30 and plus years. So, it takes a lot for me to get interested in new people creating new fancy things. And I heard how great yours was. I heard that the level of talent was off the charts. And so I went to my first one end of June, I think.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
June 29th, maybe?
That sounds
July
right.
29th, maybe.
No idea.
And that was a cool place, Rain. I didn't even know Rain. I feel like I know most all the venues in the city, but I didn't know that. And everybody was so fantastic. Is that girl that you sang the Celine thing, is she the one that's doing Funny Girl?
She is doing Funny Girl.
Yeah, I figured it was
Nicole
her.
Parker's
I
her
didn't
name.
know her, but she was awesome.
She was on Mad TV. I'm actually singing with her tonight.
Oh, really?
At Musical Mondays, since we all cross over in each other's shows. which
At
I love.
11.
Yeah, at 11. We're gonna do that number tonight.
Oh, really? It was. They made fun of my barber, which is something I don't normally
lovingly
like.
teasing. That's what I call it.
But two phenomenal voices, so it was okay that you made fun of Barbara. But mentioning 11, that can bring us to Ryan. I've known who Ryan was for a few years because we have a friend in common who I'll talk about a little bit later, Rick Starr, who used to run Hollywood Sheet Music. And I've actually known Ryan better in the last few months than I ever have previous. But I was asking Ryan how he got started doing this, and he was telling me about 11. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, well, we started at 11 about 6.5 years ago, I guess. They had just opened, and they had a big stage in the middle of the air, kind of. And the publicist there and I had met at a bar, and we were talking about it. And actually, she mentioned Shane Shale. And I were friends before he had started a show called Upright Cabaret. And we had always talked about doing shows, and then he started his show. And so then when they wanted a show on Monday nights, I said, sure, let's do it. And so within a month, we were up, and we did it once a month. And then the second month that we were there, we did a night with Stephen Schwartz. And then he came and he played. And so the buzz from that show, I think, really made it kind of explode a little bit.
Right.
and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we soon sort of outgrew that space because we didn't perform on their stage. We brought our own stage in upstairs,
which must be such a hassle.
Yeah, it was quite the hassle. We'd have to lug 3 big stages up those stairs every time we did a show. So yeah, we.
Welcome to Cabaret.
Yeah, right.
It's the nature of Cabaret.
So glamorous. Yeah, then we ended up doing it. We ended up moving to a space that
had a stage.
That had a stage and a piano. Oh my God!
I've heard of like
a real piano. Well, actually, when we started, when I was looking for a music director, which we actually ended up finding a brilliant music director, but when we started. We couldn't lug a huge piano up the stairs every night, or every time we did it. But so we had to use an electric piano. But when I was looking for a music director, there was this one music director who I won't name, who I'm now actually friends with, and I haven't reminded him of that. But he.
Well, now you have to tell us.
Really?
He refused.
We had an
to
extensive
play.
meeting before the show. Like, what can we not say?
He refused to play on electric piano. I'm like, dude, I've worked with Elton John. He works on an electric piano.
I know
He's
many
like,
people
no.
that won't.
No,
I know several people that won't.
He would not. But we eventually moved to a venue that had a real piano. All the luxuries.
Did you just name drop Elton John?
I tried to.
Very slick.
Tried to get it.
Yeah.
I tried to get it in there.
Brings us to Miss Kelsey. I think that's the longest I've ever seen you quiet.
It's probably the longest I've ever been quiet.
So, Keri, you've been hosting the open mic for 2 years now. Is that right?
No, I think almost 4.
Almost 4.
But you're good with the numbers.
No, you could be right about this
Okay,
because
good.
we talked about it the other day, but I
I
can't
thought it was
remember
3,
what
and then
you had
somebody corrected
said.
me. I pay no attention to numbers of any kind.
Oh, see how you
At
are.
all. Yes,
Anyway,
that's right. But about 4.
I first met
Solely.
Keri. I can say this, but right around the time we created the Spotlight, J.D. Kessler and Michael Orban and I used to teach a cabaret class at the Cinegrill. And it was the first time I'd ever done anything like that, and it was so fun. And Keri was in the inaugural group, and I remember so many people from that first group have now become noteworthy in the cabaret world. But tell me a little bit about your Tuesday nights. Now it's called Open Mic, Singers Open Mic with Keri Kelsey. What do you call it?
Do you know?
What do you call the damn thing?
There's been some discussion because on the sign it says Mike, M-I-K-E. So then we were joking, going, "Who's Mike? Mike's open." But I just call it Open Mic, and that was actually originally Todd Schroeder's suggestion because I was trying to come up with a clever name, which you had done,
Right.
which I thought was so clever. And he's like, "Oh, for Pete's sake, just call it Open Mic so people know what it is," which was a good idea because I've actually gotten people that pop in because they're walking down the street and see that it's an open mic and it says Singers Open Mic. But I started co-hosting with you. Originally started this with Mary
well, I was
Jo.
going to say
Right.
back right before we started the Cinegrill Spotlight. Actually, I helped create this open mic at the Gardenia in the year 2000, in July of 2000, and we called it Monday on Tuesdays, featuring Mary Jo Monday.
Right.
And from that point, it is now the longest running open mic in the city.
Right.
And somewhere along the way, 3 years, 4 years ago,
Right.
Keri, you were co-hosting right away.
Right, I
Because it's a lot of work to
pretty
do a
quickly,
weekly commitment.
right.
It's a lot. It gets to be a grind, which is another one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of pay tribute to this group. Because everybody sees the fun of, oh, look, they've got their gig and everybody knows who they are, and it's a party every week. But a party every week with personalities and high levels of talents and rehearsals and people being there and the babies at the store and everything. So anyway, go ahead.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so I started, and my friend Greg Marks would sometimes fill in for Mary Jo, but he actually works a lot, doing unlike some of us. And he would have voiceover gigs early, so I would take over around 11 o'clock, and it would be me and 6 people, and I was spending a lot of time alone at the time because I was divorcing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody gave me a microphone. They're a mistake. And I just absolutely, finally, very late in life, found what I think I was probably meant to do all along and what I love and my passion. So I started the co-hosting, and then eventually Mary Jo went, I'm tired, I'm done. So then I took over completely, started doing it weekly.
And I do so love what you do with it. Keri becomes a real beloved ambassador of the singer community around her at the Gardenia. They are like devotee families.
Well, I'm so lucky.
And she has
the people,
regulars that love her dearly, and
people
you
that
take
we've
such
had.
beautiful care of everybody.
Well, thank you. I think I look at it as they take really good care of me because I've been so fortunate. It's been sort of a perfect melding of everything. Nicole, who works at the Gardenia, who really runs the room and helps me considerably. I couldn't do it without her. The people, for instance, Scotty Bowers, who wrote the book Full Service, and his lovely wife Lois, when they started coming, it really felt like everything started to change, and we just have had the most amazing people. And then they'll be like, 11 o'clock at night, I'm kind of tired, and I'll look over and I'm like, oh, Molly Ringwald is our last singer of the evening. It's like, so it's just been a great, and the people, I mean, it's such a positive energy, and I just...
Wait, did you just name drop Molly Ringwald?
I did.
Oh.
Not Elton John. When you said Elton John, I was thinking, okay, we got Molly Ringwald. I'll do that.
That is the name of the game in this town. As much as I really hate that kind of stuff, but
it's what makes it. Well, I have Kristen Chenoweth here tonight.
Well, a friend of mine came to my show last week, a friend of mine, and he said we all took shots every time you name dropped. I said, you guys, I said it's part of my job to mention who's in the audience.
Right.
I really don't even like self-promotion. It's hard for me to even be here right now to promote myself.
Well,
it really is. In all honesty, it's hard. No, I'm not. In all seriousness, it is hard for me to promote myself, but it's much easier for me to promote everyone else. It really is.
I agree. I think maybe that's why we do this. I
Yeah,
agree.
well,
It
that is
is
why
much
you do
easier.
what you do.
Right.
All right, so let me get down to the far side of the table. Now, actually, I'm very good friends with these two. It's really great to have Ms. Lapides here. Ms. Lapides is a very, very acclaimed writer, humorist, philosopher.
Sure.
Yes, sure.
Whatever you say.
But it's funny for me because Beth has made a name for herself for, as we said, 20 years under this banner, Un-Cabaret. So when we met maybe 4.5 years, 5 years ago, I honestly felt as though the world shifted just a little bit when the Un-Cabaret met the quintessential cabaret, and we just kind of locked into each other.
Yes.
And she had been working on a one-woman show called 100% Happy 88% of the time. And I saw an early version of it, and I said, "You have to sing."
Yes,
and
you did.
A lot of risks
Sing
when
more.
I said it.
I said
you have to sing. And I introduced her to my pal Mitch, who has been one of my closest friends for many, many years. And it is an unholy alliance that has been formed. They have not left each other's side. They have not left each other's side since. We did that show. We invented a new sort of cabaret.
That's what we called it, a cabaret
version of 100% Happy 88% of the time to rave reviews and sold out houses, and it ran forever, and she's toured with it. And now she and Mitch have reinvented Cabaret to be a musical experience.
Yes,
so tell us.
Un-Cabaret.
Yeah.
Ask me more. Tell us.
First and Home.
Tell
us about what's going on at First and Home.
Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful room. It's probably, I really thought I'm done with Un-Cabaret. And when we found this room.
Basically, a friend of mine 2 years ago said, "Mitch, you got to check out this room. It'd be a great room to do a show in. Maybe you and Beth want to do something in this room." And we walk in the room, and Beth says, "Oh, maybe I can do my one-woman show here. We could do this or produce this project." And then a light bulb went off in my head. I said, "No, let's do Un-Cabaret. Let's bring it back." And she said, "No, I'm done with it.
Anything but that."
Anything but that.
And then we opened the show, and it's been an amazing ride ever since.
Yeah.
You have the perfect room. I'm so jealous of your room.
It is a great room. And they have delicious little baby cheeseburgers.
Yeah, it is a perfect room. You have a perfect location. Every room has its own.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful room. It's the thing. I mean, the word intimacy keeps coming up.
Yes.
That is the thing about cabaret that is so brilliant and so needed and so compelling. to keep doing the amount of work that you talk about what
Yes.
it takes to do a new show every week.
Right.
It's just an insane amount of work. But that intimacy with the performers, with yourself, with,
Right.
you know, it's a spiritual, I mean, not to be, but it is a spiritual experience to pull this thing off every week, and the connection and the flow and the faith,
Right.
and make it happen with the comedy and the music. There's an elevation. No matter how cranky we are when we get there and how hard the day has been, you know, we leave and we're sitting in the car and we're like, yes.
Oh my God! I feel like this is a
yeah.
therapy session. This is exactly
Very
what
specific.
this is exactly what I needed to hear.
It's a very specific support group.
That has this effect on people.
Yes.
I think we all
So
have
We
to
need to do this like every week and just air out our misgivings.
You know, it's very meaningful for me to have this conversation here with Mitch, because, as I said, Mitch and I go way back. Mitch was my first Los Angeles experience. Mitch used to be the main musical director. Well, that's a whole different story.
Where is this going?
At the legendary Studio One backlot, and it was the prestige gig. It was like Cheetah Rivera and Bernadette Peters, and everybody played that place. And on name drop, and I mean, Roseanne Barr was in the open mics. You know, it's like
I've heard
it was
great
crazy.
stories about
And Mitch was the guy. He was the main musical director. And I remember I came with my little chart with you and I, and Mitch, and I sang it afterwards. Mitch came up to me and he said, "That's the best I've ever heard that song." And I have never let him out of my sight for 35 years.
There you go.
Sweet story.
So. All right, so
Well, that was a great venue, too.
yeah, that was a
And
beautiful
Luna Park.
venue.
I mean, those were right
Yeah.
back to back. We were all there at the
Yeah.
time.
I just have to say, if you haven't seen Will and Grace, Mitch on Will and Grace doing
right
the
with Sandra.
yes, but the specialty drink or whatever it was
Yeah.
that you made, you have
Yeah,
to
and-
look up that.
And any fans of Sandra Bernhard know Mitch has been with Sandra from the beginning. He's been her musical director and chief musical collaborator for 25, 30 years now. I used to get in the back seat and drive all
Yes,
over
you did.
town. We
Yes,
were
you did.
everywhere. We went to everything together. Anyway, so let me take just a couple minutes. I do a little section here that I call Cabarabian Nights, where I tell a few things that are going on around town. I myself have produced a couple things I want you to know about. On Thursday, October 26th, we have the next Beverly Mickins Party Pack. Beverly Mickins Party Pack's another show in the vein with these things. It's a variety format, storytelling, stand-up, musical guests. It's a wonderful show at Complete Actor Space in Sherman Oaks. On Sunday, September 29th, we have the Quinn Johnson Trio with Lauren White, Todd Murray, the Lord of the Global Voice Broadcasting Network, and Karen Benjamin and Alan Chapman. Quinn Johnson is one of the most esteemed musical directors in the business. He is Steve Terrell's musical director. He's the pianist for the Claire Fisher Band, which just won the Grammy for Latin Jazz. And his band, Trey Henry and Ray Brinker, are Tierney Sutton's band, and everybody. It's a very high level of jazz evening. And Todd, who's a brilliant singer, is going to be there, Karen and Alan and Lauren White. And then a gig I'm particularly proud of, I'm doing my first thing at the Carlisle in New York. The wonderful show, Joanne Tatham in Soundtrack New York, music from movies made in Manhattan. Joanne was my featured guest last week on the September 9th broadcast. We did a full hour with Joanne. So anybody who's looking at the archives, check that out and watch that. She's at the Carlisle October 3rd and 4th. And 10th and 11th, very, very fancy gig. I'm so excited. I'm going, the opening night, we have Billy Stritch as the musical director, so I'm going for that.
Can I just say that in the
yes.
party pack, that one of my
Yes.
favorite people in the world is doing
Oh,
this, and
yes.
Janet S. Blake.
Janet S. Blake
Yes,
and
I'm
Jane
so excited.
Kinsey
That's
and
right.
Steve Robinson.
Right.
And then I also, in this next little segment, I just want to show you little place cards also playing around town. I want to say Kelsey. Hit us with Kelsey. She's at the Gardenia every Tuesday night
That's
with
right.
the open mic.
9 o'clock, sign up 8.
We have Ryan Black's 88s. So he makes a new graphic every week, but I didn't have the newest, so I just get you that. It's just your Ryan Black's 88s. This is the Broadway Bar. The next Broadway Bar is Sunday, September 22nd. Very cute. Who did that for you? Very cute.
Shane Shale.
Ah, very nice. At Rockwell. All the kids that have been on Broadway and all the kids that should be on Broadway. It is a belt-a-thon. You'll hear amazing singers. And then this last graphic is the Un-Cabaret since 1988. There you go. That's Beth and Mitch on Sunday nights at First and Hub. Now, I want to turn our conversation for just a minute to a little bit of quality time here with Gregory and Belle. I'll start by introducing you to Belle, since that's how it all began for this particular project. I love Belle. I so love Belle. Belle is an extraordinary woman, and Belle is a very, very respected talent agent. She runs a company called Progressive Artist Agency, and very high, lot of stars, very high level, and very, very high, well thought of in the business. Also does a little producing here and there, we've been friends for a while, and one day she called me up and said found out that I went to see the woman that show you did in Santa Monica, the woman who's, do you remember?
Oh, at Agape?
Yeah, no, it was at the theater in Santa Monica.
Oh.
Akuyo show.
Akuyo show,
right.
yeah.
And Gregory was there, and you were surprised we knew each other, and
Yeah.
we go way back, and we had known each other. We were good friends, and so when you saw that we were friends, you said, let's do something, and you called us to meet. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you want me to tell how it...
Yeah, get that started.
Okay,
And then we'll let Gregory
so
talk for himself.
Gregory and I went to school together to get our master's in spiritual psychology at University of Santa Monica, and I knew that Gregory had some challenges with his child, and we were talking, and Gregory was telling me about what he did to really kind of support the radiant health of Isabella, which was basically spending 12 hours of his time in the morning for the first half, and then his beautiful wife would come in and take over from Gregory, so Isabella would always have one family. One member of the family. And I said to Gregory, well, how do you have time to yourself, and what is this costing, and this feels like extraordinary amount of burden. He said, it is. And I said, well, can I stay with Isabella while you and your beautiful wife go on a date? And so I kind of connected with Isabella, and I said, we should do a fundraiser. And he said, well, first he was very resistant, actually. He had to work out some of his stuff to be a grateful receiver, to open himself up to ask people to be of service to this, I think, amazing and beautiful cause. And I called you. I said to Gregory, I think I know someone who could kind of like orchestrate this. And I called you.
So let's, Gabe, will you run some of those stills while we keep talking? So there's Isabella at Easter time. I don't know if you guys can see these pictures. Just go ahead and run. There's Gregory and Isabella at the hospital. One of the first things that we invented this idea called Songs for Isabella.
And you
we
came
started,
up with the idea. You came up with the title.
Yeah.
So we started to have a series of concerts. Katie Segal is a woman that I've worked producing a lot of her live music, and Belle has represented her for many years professionally. And Katie jumped in, and she did some benefits with us, and then my cabaret community just completely rallied. I mean, Isabella is the patron saintess of the. Literally anybody that's got the Barry Manilow songbook knows Isabella, and they're like, when can we do an Isabella night? So we've done quite a few of these. When I taught my class for teenagers, the teenagers did a night for them, Catherine Gallagher and everybody, and so that was 3 years ago, actually. I was just thinking we did that in 2010. That was right at the beginning, in the middle of the year, 2010. And so, Gregory, why don't you tell us in a little bit more detail your journey, your story?
Sure, a little bit about with Isabella's help.
Yes, indeed.
Sure. First, I'm just so, I said it in the green room, which is not green. Just expressing my gratitude to the group that's here today. I know everybody's doing their thing and honoring their gifts, and simultaneously while honoring your gifts, everyone in the room and all the people who've performed at the different cabarets have been of such great service to our family. And so I just wanted to start by saying thanks. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. And Belle, my sweetheart, friend, she came to visit us in the hospital, and that was really a beautiful part of the process, to feel her loving being reflected back. My baby. So my baby, Isabella, she has a big sister, Gabriella, who's also our treasured daughter, who's now 11. And Isabella, we found out during the first trimester that Isabella had the indicators for Down syndrome. And so my first sort of stuff that came up for me was, oh, okay, what will her needs be as distinct from my other daughter's needs, who seem to come out looking for keys, a charge card, and an apartment. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this is different. So what will that mean? And as we navigated, and when I checked in with her, like sort of on a soul-to-soul level, and had my vulnerability and tenderness about it, what I got, and what I've gotten throughout Isabella's journey, is, Daddy, this very joyful energy, I'm really fine with my expression and my experience, but if it brings up stuff for you, you have my full support. So when she was born, I was, okay. So when she was born, she had 3 holes in her heart, which required an open heart surgery, and we navigated that. And there were some respiratory issues during the following year with some trips to the ER. We addressed that. Just as that was calming down, we woke up one morning shortly after her 2nd birthday, and she was unconscious. We rushed, thank God for the fire department, responded, and within 4 minutes got to us, rushed us, Isabella and I, to the hospital, and they were able to stabilize her, and by the end of the day she was diagnosed with AML leukemia. And let Wendy and I know that chemotherapy would begin in 2 days, and that it would be a 6 to 8 month process of in-hospital care. So it was very clear to me that, you know, she was only 2 years old. It was clear to me that she wasn't going to be left in the hospital without one of us there. So having navigated the territory we'd already navigated, I turned to Wendy, you know, as we were holding each other, listening to the diagnosis, and I said, well, I don't know two things I said. One was, I don't know exactly how it will all unfold, but I know that we're going to be blessed, because with each health challenge, we seem to experience blessings spiritually on different levels. And then the next day, I said to Wendy, we know what the time frame is. The only real question is, how much fun can we have? Are we going to have? So I brought my guitar and played for Isabella every day. And as Belle suggested, it was really actually sweet. And it was, I would be there from 9 to about 9 at night, and then Wendy would take over. And it was really actually a beautiful experience. It was, I heard Belle use the word burden. That word doesn't so much resonate for me, except in the sense that it was financially challenging. It was definitely, in that way, financially challenging, because we were making it our full-time work to be present with Isabella, to care for her.
One of the other of you was always there.
Yeah, so and then caring for our, at the time, 7-year-old at the same time. So at some point we realized, I think we're going to have to reach out. And yeah.
Well, I'm sure that you can probably tell from just spending a couple minutes listening to Gregory that his approach to dealing with what he deals with is extraordinary, and it has been I think it's been a life-changing experience for everybody that's been involved in these Songs for Isabella's shows, because one of the reasons that, as I look around this room and what each of these people, the hosts, represent, is these really are the best performers in town. It's the best voices you'll hear. Mitch and Beth have Sandra Bernhardt and Margaret Cho and Rebecca Corey and Roseanne, and I mean everybody in the world drops by to these things. And Ryan had Kristen Chenoweth the other night, and when I was at Kate's, a month or so ago, I mean, literally every single solitary person was a Broadway diva. I mean, and please don't think that I'm an innocent and a cheerleader, because I'm the most jaded person in the world. I've seen everybody and done everything, and I've been doing this professionally for 30 years, and I'm hard to impress. And that's the high level of talent you're talking about with what these people are putting out week after week after week. And the reason why I'm so excited to make this, to bring this group together to make a Songs for Isabella, because it's one thing to have a great voice and it's one thing to be theatrically snappy, but it's a whole different ball game when it means something. And I'm telling you, we've done these shows where once Isabella goes on the stage for 2 seconds or Gregory gets up and tells his story, his enormous sincerity about how he has embraced the challenges to only find the blessing in it and to only find the good in it and to only find the constructive way to navigate it, I think is astounding, and you know, not what we experience on a day-to-day thing as we race around living our show business lives. You know, where I'll speak for myself. You know, I'm so self-involved about got to get here, got to get there, got to make sure I got that, got to you know, it's like it's so important to keep a context on why we do what we do and what its ultimate meaning is, and that's why the Songs for Isabella matter so much to me, why I've made it a personal commitment for these many years. And thanking Belle for the inspiration to do it, the phone call to do it. So now I'd like to just talk. We have about 5 more minutes that we can talk round table. Let's. Oh, goody. Well, Keri, I know you're chomping at the bit, so say something.
No, I'm really
say
not.
something. Say anything.
I was just thinking, really, how marvelous this is. I had met most of you. Ryan and I, believe it or not, had never met, and I'm really disappointed that I missed Kristen Chenoweth, by the way. But I'm so, I mean, we hear about each other all the time, and I'm just so happy that you brought us together for this, Clifford. I think it's a great idea, as all of your ideas are.
And a nice mirror exercise, too. You know what I mean? It's in terms of people that are living parallel lives on some level.
Oh, I see.
You know
I had
what
no
mean?
idea at first, but now
well,
I do.
you know, because you do. And you know, Beth said, you're producing a show every week, and I know for me, I only concentrate about what's going to be on the stage. I very rarely worry about whether or not people come. And you know, sometimes it's packed and sold out, and sometimes there's 3 people, and it's like, oh right, I forgot to get an audience. But I'm only concerned about what's on the stage. Right. I'm only concerned about that I got good people doing interesting things, and that they're developing new stuff, and you know, that's what I'm always thinking about. And so I look at you guys as kindred spirits, because I know that's what my journey is, and I know that's what my challenge is, and I know that's what you guys are all doing.
I just told Ryan I need a day of prep, the day to do it, and a day of recovery. 3 days are gone.
Yeah, I for sure, it is a lot of work, but I admire every single person in here that does this work. I mean, I've admired Beth's work for many years, and Kate recently, and Keri, I've seen her name on the marquee for Gardenia for years, and I think the people that stick with this thing that we do called cabaret are the ones that all support each other. I think Kate and I were talking about people that have a habit of making it a sort of a little more competitive than it needs to be, but yeah. Really, this is so nice to sit in here and feel the support of the people that do the same thing that you do.
Yeah, I'm very anti-competition. I think that the genre only lives if we are a community. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That was the thing that
and look at how the genre prospers, because each of you are out having successful nights. Kate was packed, you're always packed, you're always packed, you're always packed. I'm not always packed,
well.
but I'm frequently packed.
I remember thinking, this can't be competitive, because you're playing yourself, you're appearing as yourself. And then somebody said to me, oh, don't be fooled, you know, there's still competition, and there is a little bit, but I find that the more you embrace it. I know that at one point when there was another open mic starting in town, we were a little concerned, and it did nothing but make it bigger. and better.
Makes more people interested,
exactly.
Makes more people want to do it.
And you surround yourself too by really great talent, like you know, we use each other and support each other, and then we have these fabulous pianists that we work with, and it's just an amazing group of people in cabaret and talent.
Yeah, I think that's the secret that people don't know when they're competitive, that that if you encourage each other and if you support each other, it raises the game and it makes it prosper. It really does. It makes more people want to do it. It makes more people spend money at it. It makes more people come to see it. You know, it makes it fun.
That's right. Otherwise, it disappears.
Keeps it alive.
Yeah, it keeps it
lively.
alive. Absolutely. Now, I wanted to take a minute here. One of the things that also unites most of us here is we lost a very beloved member of our community recently. Most everybody in this room was close friends with a gentleman named Rick Starr. Rick Starr used to run Hollywood Sheet Music, and he was our beloved friend. He was the most dear man, and he passed a couple months ago, and we're going to have a mega memorial for him at the El Portal Theater on Sunday, October 6th. Doors open at 4:30. Program will start at 5. And because he did know so many singers, because he was I got a note the other day from Richard J. Alexander, who's Barbra Streisand's producer, saying, "Oh, every time Barbra started a new record or a new tour, Rick was the first person we called." You know, so. Because Rick knew so many singers, everybody around town is starting to dedicate things to him. And I wanted to share this clip because it's actually something that kind of brought Ryan and I together. I know Ryan had been very friendly with him before Ryan and I knew each other that well. And the day he died, which even though he had been sick for quite a while, he had been going through a burst of being okay, and we had been to the movies, we'd gone to dinner, and he'd been in good spirits, and then literally the next day he was found dead. So it was quite a shock the day he actually did die, and it was right before Ryan was about to do one of his Wednesday night shows. And he instantly turned it into a tribute to Rick, and he reached out to me and said, "Please come," and I went, and it was very, very meaningful, a really important place for me to be that night. And the first person I walked into was Rena Strober, who is a wonderful singer that I've worked with some and I love and know. And she told me what she was going to do that night. And even though I knew how sweet it would be, I didn't quite know how much I would be moved by it because it was quite stunning.
It's hard for me to even talk about it right now.
But they weren't filming that night, so it wasn't on record. But so I invited
We
Rena.
actually did film it.
Oh, did you? I didn't know
haven't
that.
put it out yet.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that it was filmed. So I invited Rena to one of my shows to do it recently, and I have a clip. So let's watch that. This is for our Rick.
Being on the road, like anyone knows, it's hard. And whenever I came to Los Angeles or La Jolla or San Diego with a show or with a cabaret, backstage I always received a gift. A small bag filled with highlighters and pencils and treats, wishing me luck. And these bags were from an amazing person named Rick Starr. So, Rick Starr is and will always be a staple to the theater community, not just in Los Angeles, but many of us who he's touched in New York and in the world. And it's not easy. We lost Rick a few weeks ago, a month ago. God, being vulnerable fucking sucks. When did he pass away? July 8th. We lost Rick. He was the most knowledgeable man in music. And not only did he leave the treats for us backstage, I'm holding my phone because I need to play something. He would call me and everybody else, I'm assuming, on our birthdays to wish us a happy birthday. And he never asked for us to call him back. He just always left these messages. And when I heard he died, I realized I still had his message on my phone, and I didn't call him back. I know I suck. And I realized that every day I look on Facebook and I wish people happy birthday on their walls. You're welcome. But Rick always called, and I'm taking from him so much. He's affected my life in so many ways, so I'm trying to call people now on their birthday. So if you'll let me, just because he's always here with us, I just wanted to play you a little bit of what all of us have had over the last many years.
Hello, Rena. This is Rick Starr. How are you, honey? I just am calling you on your birthday to make sure that you have a great month. And many, many more encountered you doing stuff. I am so sorry that I haven't been keeping up with my break-a-leg messages, but I'm starting to feel that I'm back to getting stronger and doing my birthday calls. And so anyway, I'm thinking of you and wishing you a happy, happy birthday. You take care.
Oh, what a generous man. He was really sick for the last few years, and he still picked up that phone. So I'm going to start picking up the phone, and I hope many of us take that from Rick. Rick was pure joy and pure heart. And one of the only other things in the world that capture those two words is Sesame Street. So I wanted to honor him with this song that reminds me of him. Well, I'd like to visit the moon on a rocket ship high in the air. Yes, I'd like to visit the moon, but I don't think I'd like to live there. Though I'd like to look down at the earth from above, soon I'd miss all the places and people I love. So although I might like it for one afternoon, I don't want to live on the moon. I'd like to travel under the sea. I could meet all the fish everywhere. Yes, I'd travel under the sea, but I don't think I'd like to live there. I might stay for a day there if I had my wish, but there's not much to do when your friends are all fish, and an oyster and clam aren't real family. I don't want to live in the sea. I'd like to visit the jungle, hear the lions roar, go back in time and meet a dinosaur. There are so many strange places I'd like to be, but none of them permanently. So if I should visit the moon, I will dance on a moonbeam, and then I will make a wish on a star, and I'll wish I was home once again. Though I'd like to look down at the earth from above, soon I'd miss all the places and people I love. So although I may go, I'll be coming home soon. No, I don't want to live on the Oh, I miss you, Rick Star.
All right. I miss you, Rick Star. All right. Well, we just basically have enough time to say goodbye, but I want to thank so much. What a special, special group this is. I feel like I could do a 7-part miniseries with just the makings of this episode. You alone I could do a 7-part miniseries with. So, in closing, is there anything anybody wants to say? Sunday nights?
Sunday nights at First and Hope on Cabaret.com and on all social media on Cabaret.
And all social media. I noticed you retweeted this morning. Thank you. Kate, Pazakattack,
One
Pazakis?
monthly show, Broadway Bar at Rockwell Table and Stage. The other monthly show, Standing Room Only at Rain in Studio City.
Excellent. And 11 tonight.
And 11 tonight, yeah. Ryan O'Connor show, yeah.
All right.
Ryan Black Attack.
Ryan Black Attack Black.
Ryan Black's 88 every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama in West Hollywood.
Excellent.
What a great voice he's
I know he's ready for it.
I'm also sick, so it helps.
Miss Kelsey?
Tuesday nights, Tom Roller's Gardenia, 9 o'clock. Sign up is at 8, and Attack doesn't fit in my name anywhere. Keri, Kelsey, Attack, it doesn't work. I'm so disappointed.
You can sit with us, Kelsey.
I know.
And Mr. Vahanian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And my beloved Belle, thank you so much for being here, my wife.
Thank you, Clifford.
And everybody, please join us Saturday, September 28th at the M Bar in Hollywood. It's a $20 cover, but you're more than welcome to come and contribute more. If you want to know more about Songs for Isabella, I have a Facebook page called Songs for Isabella Archives, and that will give you a link to the Wix website that will tell you Isabella's story and other ways you can donate there. Find us on Facebook, find us on my website, cabarabia.com. I'd like to thank my associate producer, Trisha Trippett, my beloved filmmaker that helps me with so much, Mark Saltarelli, our GVB headquarters, and my personal in-studio engineer here, Gabe Harder. Thank you so much, Gabe. And Keri's flirting with the camera, with the
Wow.
Gabe. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, Gabe. And to Mr. Todd Murray, who owns Global Voice Broadcasting, thank you for giving me a home here. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Cliff.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
So it seems that we have met before and laughed before and loved before, but who knows
Thinking about how cool it would be to host your own show just like this one? Well, Global Voice Broadcasting can make it happen. Whether you are in the Hollywood area and can take advantage of our state-of-the-art studio, or want to broadcast from the comfort of your own home, GVB will take care of the technical stuff so you can do what you do best. Host a show that's all about you and your passion. Whether it's music, self-help, inspiration, or entertainment, you are welcome at GVB. Just drop us a line at info@gvbradio.com. Again, that's info@gvbradio.com. We'll show you how easy and crazy affordable it is to have a professional show with great sound and HD video quality. Come to the GVB family and get started today. Global Voice Broadcasting. Planet Earth is listening.